Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. And I gotta say, folks, for me, this was a middle-of-the-road Raw. I think there was some stuff they had here that was really well done, and yet some other stuff, well, not outright offensive, I kind of had an apathy towards. To me, this Raw had some hits, but quite a few misses as well, as we're only now 13 nights away from Money in the Bank. Ashton, what did you think about Raw tonight?
You know, you're saying it's a middle-of-the-road show is giving it so much more credit than I'm going to. Because to me, like this, I'm not even joking when I say this Raw pissed me off to the point that it put me in a bad mood.
You know, I was even going to ask you, because everybody knows that you and I talk a lot during the show, like comparing insights and stuff like that. I heard you say a few times during the show, like, oh my god, or like a groaning motion. I didn't know if you were like doing other stuff while watching the show, or it was the product that was pissing you off.
No, it was the product, man. It was the product 100%. And let me just put it this way. There are good things that we can take out of this show. There were good segments in this show. There were, quality talking segments specifically. Not a single match on this show, with the only exception being the main event itself, was interesting or any good, at least in my opinion. This entire match card on tonight's Raw was boring as hell. It was contrived. It was not entertaining. And even the talking segments, I would say, were about 50-50. Half of them were really good, and the other half were just awful.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
So, by that kind of measurement, I'm saying 100%. Well, no, not 100%, because we had 6 matches tonight. One of them was good. So that's what? 83.33% of the matches were bad, and 50% of the talking segments were bad. So, add that up, and I think it's somewhere around 144 to 3% chance of it being bad.
Scott Steiner's proud of the math that you just did. But I'll tell you what, Ashton.
Well, I used a Steiner number there, 141 and a third chance.
Well, I actually heard that he was your professor, so, it makes sense that you would adopt his method. But I got good news for you, somewhat. There is one place to air all your grievances, and we're coming to it, our first segment, Heat of the Night. I'm just going to let you know right now, I don't really have any heats tonight, but I have 2 nitpicks. So I guess I'll just go through one, and then we'll volley the ball to you, see what you got going on, and we'll go from there. My first nitpick, the Ambrose Asylum talk show for next Monday on Raw. I'm cool with it. I like the concept of all 3 members of the Shield, but we never established how he got that talk show back. You made this big heelish segment for Stephanie, taking the show away from Ambrose because he was really grilling her and getting under her skin like, oh, aren't you jealous of your brother? Your brother just waltzes in and he does all this stuff. So as a retaliatory kind of thing, Stephanie's like, oh, well, Dean, my brother's not here or what have you, and this is the last episode of the Ambrose Asylum. Now, we could have very easily fixed this if we had Ambrose Jericho at Extreme Rules B, winner gets the talk show, and then, it'd make perfect sense.
But what they they wouldn't want to commit to that, though, because then if they had Ambrose win, they wouldn't be able to do another highlight reel.
Exactly. So I can totally see that objection. But my point is, don't insult my intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, you made this big production taking it away, and now it's back, and I'm supposed to forget how angry Stephanie got? Because, it was a memorable promo, simply why Stephanie got angry to begin with. The barbs that Ambrose was throwing at her. And now it's just like, oh, that's okay. And I'm not the only one who says this. I know a good friend of mine who follows me, the Smark Show. Check him out, by the way, guys. He said, oh, nice going, WWE. Like, are you not applying any kind of logic here? So, yeah, that really ticked me off, actually. So that's definitely one nitpick.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's probably safe to call what I have a heat of the night.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. We have 6 men established for the Money in the Bank, and Stephanie came out and she set up 3 singles matches between the 6 members. And those singles matches that we knew about from literally the beginning of the show were 50% of tonight's entire match card. There were only 6 matches tonight, 3 of which we already knew were happening at the beginning of the show, and they couldn't give too much away because they had to save something for the pay-per-view.
Right.
That legitimately got me frustrated because Cesaro Jericho could be an amazing match if it got like 20 minutes and the guys were actually allowed to tell a story. Sami Zayn versus Alberto Del Rio had one of the worst finishes I think I've ever seen to a non-pay-per-view match. And then we get to Ambrose Owens, which was a solid match, but you're giving away Ambrose beating Owens on television, and then because, of course, 50-50 booking, Owens has to get his heat back after the match.
Yeah, dude, that's another thing, too. Now, maybe this is me being a bit too nitpicky, oddly enough, in this segment, but that's another thing, too. Like, the only match I really got jazzed about was Cesaro versus Jericho, because that seemed like a newer, fresher matchup. I love Owens and Ambrose, but I've seen enough matches between those two for a good while. Like, I could go a good maybe 4 to 6 months without seeing those two touch for any, like, serious kind of stakes. You know, you really could have done some interesting dynamics here. Like, what about Sami Zayn versus Dean Ambrose? And maybe Kevin Owens versus Del Rio? I know it's the whole face, heel dynamic, and that's why they don't do it. But it would have been interesting matchups nonetheless. I completely agree with your appraisal of the Sami Zayn Alberto Del Rio match, specifically the finish. That was awkward as hell. And look, everybody knows my position on Sami Zayn. I could, bust the guy's balls all day long, but he's an incredible talent, and I've never taken that away from him. He deserves better than this. You're talking about a guy that can be a top babyface, and that whole thing just made him look really bad. And Alberto Del Rio, I don't even know why WWE is still trying to protect him like he's this top heel when I'm sorry, he's not. He just isn't. I just really don't see it personally. So, yeah, that was frustrating. And then, like you said, wanting to save something for the pay-per-view when your TV product, suffers as a result of that. So I completely agree with your frustrations.
All right, what's your second nitpick?
Just all the Teddy Long exposure,
okay, man. This is actually my second heat of the night, so it's funny that you have it as a mere nitpick, because it legitimately pissed me off.
Because then I'll volley it too, since it legitimately, angered you more than me. Do you have a full roster by any chance, or was that your only other heat of the night?
No, I had 2. It was 2.
Okay, so why did this piss you off, since you're clearly the angrier between the two of us?
Okay, I'm going to ask you this, and hopefully our viewers can follow along. Are you familiar with the movie The Room?
Yes.
Tommy Wiseau in it?
Okay, let me just qualify my answer here. I'm familiar with it, but that shouldn't be equated with that I've seen it, because I haven't seen it.
Right. That's understandable, but you know what it's known for, right?
Yes.
It's basically known as one of the worst movies ever made.
Right.
Right, and the thing is, it is legitimately one of the worst movies ever made. However, it has a cult following because it is sort of in that status of being so bad that it's good.
Right.
But the thing is, you should never aspire to be so bad that you're good.
Exactly.
And that's what these Teddy Long segments were tonight. And I thought they were just flat out horrible, but the appeal was that they were so bad they're good. I just personally thought that they were just flat out bad. There were people that I saw on my Twitter feed, on Facebook, on Reddit, that were entertained by them just because they were laughing at how bad they were. To me, you should never aspire to be that kind of entertaining.
Why it's only a nitpick to me, and I'm going to be honest, I was still, I believe in my young teen years, like really just getting out of childhood into that, early teenage when Teddy Long took over SmackDown, and I do have fond memories of his era. So seeing him come out the first time, I'm like, you know what? That's cool. I like that. And you know something? I think the nitpick is twofold, if you want my personal opinion. One, because the Teddy Long stuff just became oversaturated after a while. First time was fine. Very quickly, though, it got old. Second of all, we talk about missed opportunities. We have before on TWitWoW. In my personal opinion, I feel like they missed another opportunity tonight because You could have had Teddy Long do one thing. If you really wanted to hype up who's going to control SmackDown, why not have appearances from a bunch of different people? Maybe Teddy Long. I know Bryan's been a name that people have been rumoring forever. Maybe he makes a surprise appearance on Raw. That would have made the crowd pop huge. You could have really played with it, and then you could have had Stephanie have her big heel moment at the expense of either Long, okay, or Bryan, whatever, and just be like, it's not going to be any of you, it's going to be me. And, just be this raging, bitch character.
And can I also just say, this is actually the second biggest behind the whole idea of you should never strive to be a so bad it's good kind of thing. There was literally no point to any of the Teddy Long segments.
Yeah.
The entire purpose of his existence on this show was to get Stephanie over as a heel again.
To get Stephanie over as a heel again, which, I mean, that's
pointless endeavor, because, why the hell would you bother turning her face for a month if you're only going to turn her back heel again this quickly?
I mean, admittedly, and I think I may have even said this on a TWitWoW, it didn't even ever really come off to me like she was full-blown face.
Well, it did to me. I pointed out on an episode of TWitWoW, probably even last week, I don't remember when it was, that she's a full-blown face now.
Yeah, and see, I could never, with my whole heart, agree with you on that. I could see why you'd think that and why a lot of people would think that. I was always tentative, but even so, even if you'd want to make the argument, well, she's at least trying to be good, even if she's not a full-blown face, it doesn't change the fact that you flushed it all down the toilet with this.
Yeah.
And it's convenient that Shane's not in the building. I wonder if that's going to be, like, part of the story. Oh, when Shane's not around, she shows her true colors, but when he's in the picture, her mask goes back on. And maybe it's going to become this thing, which, quite honestly, I couldn't care less, because I was more interested in this idea that Stephanie was going to try and be good, and I don't know, then maybe Vince. I think we even said in our draft video and our SmackDown Live discussion, which, guys, go check that out if you haven't, that maybe it was you that said that you thought like Vince was going to drive a wedge between maybe Shane gets SmackDown, Stephanie gets Raw, something like that, because they're just getting along so well. That would have been more interesting to me than what we got. Literally, the most productive thing we got from Teddy Long's presence was a match at Money in the Bank concerning the tag team titles. That's it. That's the biggest thing his presence facilitated.
But it didn't even necessarily facilitate that. He just happened to be the one that said it first.
Right. Well, I guess when I say facilitate, it like got the discussion happening, made the foundation, like, okay, all these teams.
Right. But
now
you're speaking in kayfabe terms, though.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter if Teddy Long was on Raw tonight or not. That match would have ended up getting booked.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm just saying, like, kayfabe, why, like, that was his big thing. It was because we always make jokes about him making tag matches. So,
but, But, like,
yeah.
what exactly does him contributing that to the Money in the Bank card do for anyone?
Nothing.
Exactly. That's my point, that there was no purpose to him being on Raw tonight at all.
Yeah, again, like, I like the first appearance, got the pop, whatever, but then
the first appearance was great right up until 30 seconds in when he had his first botch.
And even that, like, I let slide, because I didn't know we were going to get him so many times throughout the show. I'm like, okay, he botched, it's been a while, whatever, he's up on the guy, he's older, this, that, whatever. But to see him over and over again, and then they're just playing the awkwardness for laughs, it's not funny, it's painful.
Teddy Long, tonight you go one-on-one with Alzheimer's.
Oh my god. So, yeah, it infuriated you, it irritated me. Do we have any other complaints we want to air out?
This show was just boring, man.
It was bad.
It was just, that's the like I said, I don't want to make it seem like this is a complete 100% garbage show, because there were really good segments. And I want to emphasize, they weren't just, oh yeah, they kind of picked the show up a little. Like, they were legitimately, would have been good on any other show, that kind of good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. And it's
but that
funny
was a third of the show. The other 2/3 blew.
Right. And it's funny you talk about segments like that, though, that were really good, because let us get right into our Monday Night Raw review. We open up with one, in my opinion. We go to Raw. Dean Ambrose's music is like, it's playing. And
yeah, we opened up Raw while Ambrose's music was like in mid-riff.
Exactly. And you see all the Money in the Bank ladder match participants perched on ladders, and Ambrose joins them. And Ashton, to me, what I loved about this from the word go, it really created an atmosphere for the Money in the Bank ladder match that was unique and had great personalities involved. What did you think about this?
The whole setup with all the ladders, it came off as kind of awkward, but for the comedic factor, I think it worked.
Dude, I thought these guys played off of each other very well.
Honestly, I know that this is going to sound ridiculous and probably superficial and shallow, but I thought that the way Cesaro stood on the ladder made him look weak.
Really?
Like, everyone else was all comfortable chilling out on the top or the second from top rung, and Cesaro was literally standing like halfway down the ladder with his chest at the top of it. It came off as he was like afraid of heights or something. It was weird.
Interesting.
How the hell are we supposed to believe that you're going to climb that ladder all the way to the top and grab a briefcase if you're not even willing to climb to the top of it for a friggin' segment?
I know, that seems like a bit of a reach, man.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Like I said, it's superficial and shallow, but that was my thought when I saw all these guys on these ladders. I thought this did the most for Jericho because he looked like he was right at home at the top of the ladder, man.
Let me tell you something. For as much as I've been about KO Mania as of late, Jericho owned this segment.
He did. Well, I think Sami Zayn, and Cesaro had the best exchange.
Yes.
Because when Cesaro brings up Money in the Bank and how he's going to win it, Jericho says, "Oh, shut up, Cesaro. I created the Money in the Bank match." And then Cesaro comes back with, "Oh, well, then why have you never won one?" And he's just like, "I have." And then Sami retorts with, "Oh, really? Which one of them did you win?" And Jericho goes, "The first one." And then Sami's just like, oh, really? And then Jericho goes, "The sixth one." And Sami's like, oh, the sixth one. Well, which one is it? And Jericho, "Yeah, the sixth one." And then Sami comes back with, "Okay, you won the sixth Money in the Bank ladder match. Where was that match? Where was that great win?" And Jericho just says, Appleton, the Big Apple. And then Sami's, oh, the Big Apple. So it was in New York, really? And Jericho just comes back with, "What does it matter where it was? It was in stupid Idiotsville. Who cares?" And then Cesaro comes in with, "Oh, so it was in your hometown." And then Jericho with the quip of the night, "I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot."
Bringing it back, baby.
Dude, that was just that one exchange made this entire segment worthwhile.
Dude, I had so much fun with this. It's a shame that Raw couldn't maintain the energy that this segment generated. Because I felt like this segment established a great tone for the program.
Oh, you said tone. I said pace.
That too. I mean, yeah, like anything works. I just felt like this is a segment that starts Raw off right, and you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I'm excited for Money in the Bank. At least that's what I was thinking.
And then Teddy Long comes out and botches. He has no clue what's going on. And then Stephanie comes out for the save, announces that Shane isn't here tonight, he's on vacation, talks about how she hasn't made any decisions and that no one's made any decisions as far as who the SmackDown GM is going to be when it goes live. And then tells everyone that was just in the ring that they're going to be competing in singles matches. And it's Zayn Del Rio, Ambrose Owens, and Jericho Cesaro, which starts now.
So what did you think of Jericho Cesaro?
Went on for too long.
You think so?
Here's my thing, dude. With these TV matches, if they're not getting over 15 minutes, they shouldn't get more than like 7. Because anything in between 7 and 15 minutes feels like it goes on for too long, but doesn't get enough time to really be an amazing match.
Right.
You know what I mean? And every single one of these singles matches felt like it was in that 7 to 15 minute range. And it was just boring to me.
I can understand that.
I like Cesaro 1, I will say that.
Yeah, I like the sequence that led to his victory, like him powering through the walls of Jericho, doing the swing, and then locking in the sharpshooter. I had to put a smile on Tyson Kidd's face, seeing Jericho tap out to that. And yeah, good victory for Cesaro. I'm liking how he's been booked lately. I mean, dude, that moment he had on the last SmackDown where he does the springboard uppercut to Owens and his glasses don't even come off his face.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy is a fucking boss.
That was an awesome moment. And then he just stands there in the ring with the freaking suit on like a beast.
He's really coming into his own, dude, with this whole Jason Statham, James Bond kind of air about him.
Yeah, definitely.
this is really working for him. And while I don't think, and this is me again, when you hear me have this voice, you guys know I'm obviously being 100% sincere. I don't think he's going to win Money in the Bank right now. I mean, we're going to do our preview and predictions, pretty soon. Next week, I believe, will be the time. And, it's just, even though I don't think he's going to win, doesn't mean that this gimmick isn't going to give him a prosperous year. I still see him really doing big stuff. I still want the Lesnar matchup. I know you do too. I know a lot of people do. And this gimmick's just done wonders for him. So yeah, I was actually surprised he got the submission win because I really didn't think Jericho was going to tap out. So that caught me a bit off guard, but I am happy he won. So yeah, Cesaro gets the win.
Yeah, I feel like Cesaro's been getting a lot more submission victories with that sharpshooter since Tyson's injury.
Yeah.
And really, specifically since Cesaro's been back from his injury.
Right.
Yeah. Up next, though, we had a recap of the AJ Styles John Cena confrontation last week, but it was just like a video package, so we'll probably talk more about that later, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so then we had another video package / vignette / pre-tape kind of thing with Seth Rollins talking about his injury, talking about the world title and how he's obsessed with it and how he needs it and how it's the only thing he cares about. Roman and how the fact that he thinks Roman is a placeholder champion. It felt like a very face kind of video trying to get Rollins over as sympathetic. So WWE either doesn't know what they're doing or they know exactly what they're doing, and last week was just a horrible decision.
Dude, I don't even know anymore because you know that I went back this past weekend and I watched the WWE 24 special on Seth Rollins. I thought it was really well done. I love him more than ever. I think he's a great guy. Certainly had to endure a lot. And you see this, and you see a lot of footage from the WWE 24 special. That's why I even bring up my viewership of it at all, because I recognized a lot of the footage. And I'm like, why are you showing the hospital stuff when he's the villain? Because, like, for any human being, and yes, I'm even speaking for the Johnny scumbags like myself of the world, it's going to strike a chord. You know what I mean? To see a guy that low claw back up to that spot. And yet he's the bad guy in this program. So immediately there's a disconnect, at least in my mind. Second of all, the funny thing is, the stuff that you're airing, on the Titantron, this and that, this was, at least in my mind, because I didn't hate either of these things. I know some people liked Rollins but dumped on Reigns. I liked both of the video packages. My thing is, the stuff that you videoed and did all that, that was better than the live stuff you did last week. Last week was a joke. And really one criticism I should have brought up was, if Reigns wants to get at Rollins so damn bad, and if this is a blood feud because it's a brotherhood gone wrong, why is he just waiting in the ring letting Seth dictate the pace? Why don't you go out that ring and beat his ass and be a badass babyface? Because then maybe you'd actually get a positive reaction. Probably not, but maybe, And it's just funny to me that the really edited, nicely packaged stuff is better than the live stuff they did. They got to step it up a little bit because Money in the Bank's in 13 nights. Like, you don't have much time left to build this. I don't think this will be their last match by any means. But, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Rollins' video package. I agree with you about the mixed message. It's just funny to me that this stuff, to me, blew the live stuff they did just a week prior out of the water.
I'm just waiting for the segment where Roman's music hits. Rollins has been talking for like 10 minutes at this point. Roman's music hits. He hits the ring. Rollins rolls out of the ring on the announcer's side, but Roman, for the first time in pro wrestling history, rolls out of the ring on the same side as Seth, and they're nose to nose, and Seth just shits himself because he has no clue how to handle this situation.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, he negated the ropes.
You could make an entire month worth of video packages off of exclusively Seth Rollins' facial expression to that moment.
Oh my God.
You could even interview him. I just imagine the question, what were you thinking when you just rolled out of the ring and didn't expect Roman to follow you? And Rollins is just like, didn't expect him to follow me. That's never happened before in my entire life. I've been rolling out of the ring for the last 6 years and no one's ever done that.
I can't believe Roman, he's sentient. But And I don't want to be like too preemptive here, but we do get announced next week on Raw. My whole gripe with the Ambrose Asylum. Well, the only reason it was a nitpicking on Heat of the Night is they softened the blow with the guests. We've got Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for the Ambrose Asylum. I mean, do you think they can make it work, Ashton? Do you think this could be like an out of the park, home run kind of segment?
No way. I mean, if the entire purpose of it is going to try and get Roman get cheered, it's going to fail horribly. It's going to just land flat on its face.
What if they're really just teasing that Shield tension? Do you think if they go from that angle, this could succeed?
No, I don't. I legitimately don't think this segment is going to work.
Interesting.
I think that this is one of those segments where the idea of it is just so much more appealing than the actual execution is going to be.
I'm worried that you're right. I'm not going to definitively say that I think you're right because I want to keep an open mind, but yeah, I kind of got the same impression. Like
it's just got that formula, man. Like it's that kind of segment where, oh my god, this sounds like it's going to be amazing on paper.
Right.
And then you realize that the WWE's writers are the ones that are putting it together.
Yeah, I mean that is a point. For the last several TWitWows, the last good little bit, you've really been hammering home. It's like, guys, it doesn't really matter what we get until the internal structure changes, until the people actually carving out the presentations, that changes, then don't really get your hopes up for anything. Even something as attractive looking as all three members of the Shield in the same ring, knowing Dean's in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and knowing Seth and Roman are going to wage war for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So I definitely see where you're coming from. I have similar feelings like, oh, this is a really attractive looking segment, but I'm worried about the execution, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be the go home Raw, so they really got to make it work, man. This is the last chance to really, really promote that main event and make it feel something special. I just don't know if they can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key right there is the execution. Up next, someone execute me. We had Rusev versus Jack Swagger with Titus O'Neil on commentary. Exactly my point.
It's funny because in a later segment, it was the Becky Lynch, Dana Brooke, Charlotte segment. I know you were groaning about that, and I said, oh, I know it's a pity for Becky. She deserves so much better. That sentiment of somebody deserving so much better, you could apply that directly to Rusev. What in the hell is he doing with these scrubs? Like, I don't understand it, man. And then look, it's not even so much Titus, oddly enough. Like, I don't like the guy by any means, but really it's more Swagger. Like, Rusev's already definitively proven he's better than you, dude. Like, that feud's done with. He won. I don't see the need for you to be reintroduced back into the picture. But yeah, then him and Titus both were probably going to get a triple threat at Money in the Bank, which just, I don't know.
Wait, do you really think Jack Swagger is going to get involved in that?
Probably.
I don't. I think that they're just sticking with Rusev because Rusev won, didn't he?
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
By DQ?
He won by count out.
Right, but still, like, Jack Swagger was only in this match as fodder to get the Rusev Titus program more over, right?
See, you say that, and I can understand where you're coming from, but if he was just fodder, why did him and Titus both beat up Rusev, like, to send him out of the ring post-match? Like, they both stood tall, and Rusev was the one that left the ring, so that tells me, Swagger's issues with Rusev aren't over either. And I come back to my central point. What are you doing with Rusev?
Can we please just not do this specifically with Rusev? Seriously?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, bro, and I may get some disagreements from people because, I mean, I do love the Money in the Bank lineup, don't get me wrong, but if I knew that Rusev wasn't even going to feud with Cena, which was so heavily rumored, I would have thrown him in the Money in the Bank ladder match because I feel like him mixing it up with the likes of Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens, among others, is a hell of a better use of his talent than Jack Swagger and Titus O'Neil.
Here's a sentence I never thought that I would utter in the history of TWitWoW. Do you know what tonight's show really missed?
What's that?
The Miz.
Yeah. Where even... Well, I know he's shooting the movie, so I guess... What, there's not going to be an Intercontinental title match at Money in the Bank?
It seems that way. That's what kind of brought me back to him, because You brought up Rusev being in Money in the Bank, and that got me to thinking, oh, well, then we would need the Intercontinental Champion to be in Money in the Bank too. And who is that? The Miz.
Exactly. Who
wasn't on tonight's show, but man, could tonight's show have used some of the Miz.
Yeah, because he's owning his character right now.
Exactly. He has his character down to a science, and anybody that ends up in the ring with him gets immensely cheered. Like, the list of baby faces on the WWE roster right now goes 1, Cena, 2, Styles, 3, whether the WWE likes it or not, Rollins, 4, Ambrose, 5, whoever's going against The Miz.
Yeah, and speaking...
The Miz's opponent, meaning the variable, being whoever happens to be standing across from The Miz at any given time. That variable is the 5th most over babyface in WWE right now.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And honestly, I would even say that you could put in 6th place whoever's against Rusev.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And
how great is that those guys are our mid-card champions?
Exactly. 2 phenomenal heels representing the mid-card.
And for such completely different reasons, too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, yeah, because it's diverse, and that's the thing. And while Miz, to his credit, just got out of an amazing program, I mean, mostly with Cesaro, but then Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens got in the mix, Rusev gets stuck with this. And it really sucks, because it's not me dissing the Miz. Like I said, he's been having, I think, one of the best years he's had in a long time. But I've always been very high on Rusev, and I want to see him get to that next level in his heel work. And speaking of absences, because you mentioned the Miz, no Apollo Crews tonight, no Sheamus, no furthering of that feud. And when are we going to get the Shining Stars back in the ring? That's
my biggest freaking disappointment about tonight, was the fact that, well, and not just tonight, but the last few weeks, we have had one match from the Shining Stars against 2 local talents, and nothing since then other than talking video packages.
And, if it's true, the reports that I was seeing, like, McMahon has already given up on the Shining Stars, like, it was one match against jobbers, and you're already saying it's dead in the water? Like,
Get over
I don't even
yourself.
Know. Yeah.
You old sack of shit.
Look at you pulling at me with the visceral. Yeah, I like it. But, yeah, and yet, oddly enough, he seems to really like Breezango, which is great, because Fandango and Tyler Breeze are amazing talents.
Yeah, we'll talk about them later.
Yeah, we will. But, yeah, like, all these absences are weird. And then, yeah, Rusev, Jack Swagger, that was pointless. Count out, whole thing. Then Titus and Jack, they stand tall. And I'm really fearing a triple threat at Money in the Bank, and I just wish somebody would come on the WWE Network with me and hold me and cry. So, that's where we're at.
Okay. Up next was easily, in my opinion, segment of the night. John Cena cuts a promo.
Yes. He pretty much comes out. He recounts the energy, but I like the way that he does it. Because he more or less says, look, guys, I've been here a long time. And it's always been in the big matches, the big fights that I've had, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. And he does it so much that he actually gets the chant going. And he says, but last week, something amazing happened. AJ came out and you could feel the energy because everybody thought it wasn't going to happen. So instead of let's go Cena, Cena sucks, we got let's go Styles, Cena. Was it Cena sucks? Like, let's go Styles, Cena sucks?
It was let's go Cena, AJ Styles.
Let's go Cena, AJ Styles. And yeah, like, that never happens because they never show credit to the other guy. It's always bagging or celebrating John Cena. And he mentions that. And more or less he says just how, like, why, AJ? The people thought this match would never happen. We took very different roads. I haven't had this kind of energy with anybody since The Rock. So, I mean, Cena really giving AJ that stamp of approval in WWE's eyes, putting AJ on a similar level to The Rock in terms of the energy generated. I thought that was huge. And I commend Cena for going out of his way to phrase it in those terms. But then he asks the question, why? And then AJ comes out. Now, Ashton, I want you to give your perspective on AJ's promo, but first, what did you think of Cena's promo?
This Cena promo is one of the best Cena promos I think he's ever had.
Yeah, I would agree.
This was just so well done, and the crowd manipulation just had them in the palm of his hand. No effort required for him to just get them to chant whatever the hell it is that he wants them to chant.
Right.
I don't think that he could necessarily get them to chant like whatever the random shit is that The Rock gets people to chant, but regardless, the point is he did a great job with the crowd. He did a great job just kind of interacting with them, really hyping up AJ Styles. But then when AJ does come out, I really liked what Cena said in retort to what AJ said, which AJ actually really disappointed me. His reasoning actually annoyed me to a pretty noticeable degree. I like when AJ Styles comes out and he says, John, I'm better than you, and I'm a better wrestler than you, and you can't beat me. Like, all I'm thinking is, dude, you're not the one that gets to decide that. That's the booking team. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why would you ever, if you are a new or relatively new to the main event scene talent, facing John Cena of all frickin' people for the first time, why would you set yourself up for failure by saying you can't beat me to the one guy that's never had a feud with anyone that he didn't win at the end?
See, and I want to, because I completely agree with you, right? And I just want to set the stage in this way. When AJ Styles says, I'm a better wrestler than you, this and that, it worked for CM Punk because CM Punk had already been in the company for years, and it came from a jaded place because Cena was doing all this stuff that Punk felt he was worthy of. Kevin Owens, I felt, made it work because John Cena even said, like, let me give you some veteran advice, and that was the springboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Kevin Owens snapped back and he's like, no. You don't do that with me. And he's really, like, we know what Kevin Owens is. I could talk about him all day. With AJ, I don't think he had such a springboard. And that's why I felt like a kind of apathy towards this. Because at first I thought it was played out. Because I thought, like, again, the last great person to really do it was Kevin Owens. And two, even if it wasn't necessarily played out and there was still some juice in there, I really didn't see the foundation for it. Like, you just got here. We all know who you are, AJ. But it's not like John Cena disrespected you, because I even felt like he disrespected Kevin Owens a little bit with the whole thing, some veteran advice. No, he just said you generate energy with him similar to The Rock, like really hyping you up. Like, it's not like he snubbed his nose at you, even in comical, stupid, corny Cena fashion. So,
or even in like an unintentional way like he did with Owens, where like he wasn't trying to scoff or to, what did you say, what his nose?
Snub his nose.
Snub. He didn't try and snub his nose at Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens just kind of noticed that Cena was talking down to him without even trying.
Right, exactly.
Whereas in this case, you've got Cena legitimately paying nothing but respect to AJ Styles, and AJ kind of comes out and he's all, oh, I'm better than you. You can't beat me, in his Georgia accent. And it just came off as stupid. He really, like, I can't think of a better word to describe. It just made no sense. And not only did it make no sense for the AJ Styles character to be talking to John Cena in this way, but it made no sense from a narrative standpoint either, because it's not true. Like, John Cena can beat literally anyone. All it requires is for somebody to put pen to a paper and it's done.
Right. And I mean, of course, a lot of fans, the whole suspension of disbelief, they're not going to think about it in those terms, so you're absolutely right. It doesn't change the fact that, Cena does have that track record. I would have much rather seen AJ's motivations be, I lost my chance at the WWE Championship, which Cena threw in his face a few moments later, which we'll get to that. And, I realized, like, I was doing this for all the wrong reasons. I don't need them. All I need is the club, and it was the club that took you out, or just something like that. But to go after Cena personally and not make the foundation for his turn his own frustrations, because he has a lot to genuinely be frustrated about, that, again, I used this word in a prior segment, I felt a disconnect with that. But crazy thing is, AJ bringing all that crap to Cena wasn't having it.
No.
I mean, he shut that shit down,
and
dude.
this retort promo was the one that I would say is probably one of the best Cena promos ever.
take it away, dude. What were your thoughts?
It was just, not only was, like you said, it was just straight fire, but he was spitting truth. Like, it was factual. Like, we have heard the old, oh, I'm a better wrestler than you, John Cena thing so many times now. It is beyond cliche at this point. And
Yeah.
Cena brings up, too, like, dude, you haven't even been able to beat Roman Reigns. What the hell makes you think you're going to beat me?
I love that too, and you know what? I doubt it, but I'd love if WWE kind of uses that little line to facilitate our Reigns Cena program, because you know that's coming. I mean, you've been saying it more than anybody.
That's our WrestleMania 33 main event, but I don't think they're going to use that specific line to push it.
Would have just been funny if Roman was watching backstage like, the hell was Cena talking about? Like, putting me down. But yeah, like, as soon as he said it like that, and then I'll be honest, and maybe this is just me, and maybe I'm just like this, this wet blanket, can't have a good time. I enjoyed the promo, I enjoyed the back and forth, but the one part that really made my body tense up, and I'm like, do we really want to go there, was AJ's shovel reference.
Yeah. People are actually praising that quite a bit.
I can't. I know that may make me public enemy number one, but I didn't like it at all.
See, like, I think that this entire segment just had like a kind of a cognitive dissonance to it.
How so? Like, unpack that.
It was just, there was just such a disconnect. Like, okay, so first, here's my, this is perfect. You actually just threw such an easy ball. I'm going to hit it out of the frickin' park. So first, AJ says, you can't beat me, implying that John Cena, the character, the wrestler, the in-ring, savant who has won 15 world titles and is this amazing in-ring, talent because he wins as much as he does, can't beat AJ Styles, the character who has just shown up in WWE this year and has put on all these amazing matches despite only winning like a third of them, right?
Right.
Then AJ goes on to say, almost as if to say in a shoot, as if it was Alan Jones, the person, saying, people like you bury people like me. So first, we're supposed to suspend our disbelief and think, oh, well, these characters are getting into a feud, and the one character thinks the other character can't beat him. And then no more than like 5 minutes later, we're supposed to completely drop our suspension of disbelief and buy into this sort of smarky inside baseball idea that John Cena buries talents.
And the funny thing is, like, and I think you make an excellent point, that now you're operating on two completely different wavelengths. I think I could have respected this segment, at least particularly AJ's portion, because I have to agree with you. I loved what Cena did here. If he committed fully to one or the other, even if he committed to the idea, you bury people, that could have been a fascinating narrative.
Well, and you know what, too? I didn't even think about this. The worst part about that whole thing was that he was using that as his reasoning for why he is teaming up with Gallows and Anderson. So you're using a shoot non-kayfabe reason to justify a kayfabe decision.
Right.
That's where the disconnect is, right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, AJ, it's weird, because I wanted to like this promo. I did. I was excited to hear his motivations, this and that. And then he talked, and I'm like, okay, it wasn't the worst, but then the shovel reference, I'm just like, oh, AJ, why'd you have to go there, man? Like, why'd you have to go there? And, like, I even joked, like, oh, how many, like, quote-unquote internet fans, you think lost their mind for that? And, I don't know.
John.
Yeah, and that's what everybody's been saying, like, all of them. Because, like, oh my god, AJ confirmed everything we always knew. This Cena really does bury people. And look, whether he does or he doesn't, it's a moot point in regards to this feud. I really wish that AJ would have just gone the frustration route, or even if he did want to get more political, like even CM Punk in that pipe bomb promo that had their great Money in the Bank championship match. He called Cena an ass kisser. He said, you're just as good as Hulk Hogan was, maybe not as good as Dwayne, though. He always was and still is. Even if AJ wanted to go that.
The one thing that I want to point out about that so-called shoot promo that was really just a work shoot.
Right.
I think what was so great about that was that even though you could say Punk was hard air quotes here shooting, everything he said worked from a kayfabe standpoint.
Right.
Like, he didn't say that John Cena wins because he kisses up to Vince. He said that John Cena gets promoted because he kisses up to Vince. He gets, advertised by the company and gets promoted, and he's the one that they're promoting and giving all this credit to and stuff. Like, he never said, John Cena, you win because you kiss ass. He said, you get all this stuff that I want because you kiss ass,
Right.
And he, and then he brought up the posters and the programs and the cups and the shirts and stuff. He never blended kayfabe with reality.
Right.
AJ did.
And see, I don't even know how you could have gotten this to work, because AJ, to me, I just feel like AJ trying to find personal fault and motivation within Cena was just never going to work, because AJ more or less really just got here. I know he's been here now for a few months, but like, he hasn't invested the time like a CM Punk to go the kind of route that he went. I just don't see it. I feel like it should have been more centered on him and his follies, and him just saying more or less, I got fed up. And then his whole motivation came crumbling down like a house of cards anyway with Cena's retort. Because Cena more or less said, everything you just said is bullshit. It's an excuse, and I'm not having it. And maybe that works for some people, because AJ, again, is supposed to be the heel, so maybe he's not even really supposed to have a leg to stand on. But you could have come with a bit more fire, AJ. So, I don't know. Like, I loved what Cena did. I was mad about what AJ did. So, I guess I'll give this segment a passing grade, because I thought Cena was really strong, which is rare for him on the mic, especially for me. You know how I've come out with him with my claws out in the past. I really don't know what to make of this, dude.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I think it would have been a better decision for them to keep AJ face and have this first AJ Cena match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view be face versus face.
Yeah.
I think that would have made a lot more sense, and Cena beats him, then AJ turns, then AJ beats Cena in their second match, and then we have a reason to have a rubber match.
Exactly.
Which would be at SummerSlam. Hello?
Right. Which, from what I understand, a lot of people backstage, they wanted that to be a SummerSlam match. Like, they really wanted to tell a story, where, again, from what I'm hearing, Vince just wanted to get it underway, I guess, because of the rate of injuries and everything. He didn't want a chance sitting on it.
Man ruins everything.
He really does. Anything else you want to say about this segment?
Not anymore, no.
All right, let's move on, I guess.
Up next was the Vaudevillains versus Enzo and Cass, and I have match 2 written down twice here, so apparently there were 7 matches tonight, not 6.
Oh, all right. Not really much to say here. It seemed like it was starting out okay, and then the Vaudevillains decide, we're going to replicate what happened at Payback. We're going to try and take Enzo out again.
That was distasteful.
Yeah, and then Cass, in my mind, had a nice character moment, though, because he was very protective of Enzo. I mean, they have a deep bond. They're like brothers, and he just wiles out on both of the Vaudevillains. And, again, from what I'm hearing, and whenever I use phrases like that, people always take it with a grain of salt. WWE really likes Big Cass. Big shock, right? You and I thought they'd love him the moment they saw him, and they want to keep him protected just in case they ever want to push the button on a singles push. And yeah, I think this just gives more credence to that, because Cass wild out on both these guys. He imposed his will, and him and
got
Enzo stood tall.
himself disqualified at that.
Yeah, got himself disqualified in a way that really made him look dominant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it doesn't happen very often anymore. That's a nice little change of pace.
Definitely, I agree. I actually enjoyed how this was handled, and narratively, given the tag match that we're getting at Money in the Bank, I do like it. Also, should mention, just so we don't jump the gun too much, I mean, Enzo and Cass had another great promo to precede all this. They quoted Muhammad Ali a lot, who recently passed. So I thought that was nice. And yeah, good stuff that really just made Cass look even more like a beast than he already is. So there you go.
Yeah, no surprise there, right?
Absolutely.
Up next, we had Sami Zayn being interviewed backstage. Says that he is the underdog because Alberto Del Rio has already won and successfully cashed in Money in the Bank So he's already achieved what Sami is aspiring to do. And then ADR shows up and ruins everything.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I'm pretty sure you just gave your thoughts in a nutshell, right? ADR ruins everything.
Pretty much.
I'm right there with, and you know what's funny though? And I gotta be honest. I mean, I'll hate Del Bitchbag forever. I mean, there's just no going back. But what he was saying, I'm like, oh man, this delivery would be so much better if it was somebody like Owens or Jericho. Because I liked what he was saying, right? Like, oh, this match is so important to you because you get to prove everybody wrong. You know, Sami with the whole underdog from the underground kind of gimmick. I mean, that's a nickname he gave himself. And, you know, like, it works. And this match should be important to somebody like Sami because he is that type of babyface. But Del Rio's delivery just always leaves me so bland. Like, if this was Jericho and his diction, talking to Sami all slow, you know, like, I've been all over the world, but I've won world championships over and over. I've made my legacy. You're just dying to make yours, and that's why this match means everything to you, doesn't it? And then, you know, snaps his finger or says just, like, wake up because it's a dream or just something like that. You know, I would have been like, oh, man, what great sympathy for Sami, and he's such a beloved babyface. But Del Rio, I don't think, really did him any favors. And then you talk about the match they had, which I'm sure we'll get to in a few moments here. That made it even worse. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, typically when a heel cuts this kind of promo, they get their comeuppance later on, and it didn't happen. So,
You know, worse than it didn't happen. That was like the most awkward finish I can ever remember seeing in recent memory.
yeah. So, speaking of awkward, up next we had an awkward Stephanie McMahon Teddy Long segment. Teddy suggests a fatal 4-way tag team title match between the Vaudevillains, Enzo and Cass, the Club, and the New Day. And Stephanie politely, but not so politely, asks him to leave, and then calls marketing and tries to, well, not even tries, but claims Teddy's idea as her own. And tells marketing to start advertising it. So yeah, this was you know, not the best segment, but I don't even know, John. Just take it.
I feel like you were trying. I feel like you were really trying. It's like, well, it wasn't the best, but, and then, you know, you just realize you're drowning and it's over.
Yeah, and then I was thinking about saying it wasn't the worst before I realized I was wrong.
Yeah, you know, again, I think that's the review right there. Just too much Teddy Long. Stephanie's already back to this attitude, which I was more intrigued and I felt like she was keeping her cards close to her chest. Yeah, she had about as much subtlety with her heel tactics as a hammer striking me in the skull repeatedly. And yeah, that's, again, just how I feel about this. Just another blast segment.
Yeah. Speaking of blast segments, up next, these segues though, up next we had Sami Zayn versus Alberto Del Rio.
What did you think about it, man? I mean,
I already told you what I thought about it. It was garbage. The finish was the worst.
Honestly, I think Sami should have gone over here for one.
Even if he didn't, at least have him lose by a decent reason rather than just he's dumb enough to lift himself up while Del Rio's hovering above him.
I can't believe that he still uses this for a finish. And I know he hasn't forgotten about the cross arm breaker because he beat Zack Ryder with it to get in the damn match to begin with. Mm-hmm. So just fucking stick with it, you moron. Oh, Jesus. Dude, this was so bad. Because, you know, fine.
Is there an easier to dislike performer in the WWE right now than Alberto Del Rio?
For the reasons we dislike him, I don't think so. I think he takes the fucking cake, actually. Dude, this finisher is so bad.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There might be more easy to dislike characters, but I'm strictly talking about the performer.
Right.
Yeah.
He's pretty awful. Again, I don't think so. I think he's got a monopoly on that dude. And, you know, again, you're right. Sami didn't necessarily have to win. I feel like that would have been the better call creatively. But at least if Del Rio was going to win, maybe really rough up Sami. See, that's what they should have done. You could have really roughed up Sami's arm, gotten the submission win, and then you could have had the ambiguity, oh, well, what kind of state is Sami going to be in come Money in the Bank? That would have built sympathy. This is a babyface that's predicated on sympathy. If there isn't sympathy or likability, well, I mean, they all are doing it, but I think Sami even more so than most baby faces nowadays, because he really is a nice guy. That's what we would always say in NXT. Like, he's a nice guy. And I think nice guys, when that's all you have going for them, should be especially sympathetic. So when you see this nice guy that just wants to be the best and build this legacy, and I worked so hard to get here, have an obstacle like, oh my God, this guy who's won Money in the Bank, who's legitimate, just messed the hell up out of my arm. What am I going to do? That creates a compelling, resonant storyline thread going into the match. I mean, again, this is all my opinion. I could be wrong, but to go with the double stomp in just that awkward fashion doesn't do anything for Sami. To me, doesn't do anything for Del Rio, who, again, I don't even know why WWE bothers to book this way anyway. I don't think he's anything special at all. And yeah, it was just a really bad match because it all comes down to the finish, and that's what's going to stick with me. I don't remember anything else they did. I just remember that awkward sequence getting to the double stomp.
Well, yeah, and really getting to the second double stomp, because the first one Sami reversed and then was dumb enough to get hung on the Tree of Woe again.
Exactly.
Actually, no, he didn't get hung on the Tree of Woe a second time. He was there the whole time. Del Rio just super kicked him in the face while he was hanging there.
Yeah, he tried to reposition himself because I guess he was so committed to going off the top rope, and it didn't even happen anyway. Like, why not just have Del Rio hit the double stomp on his first try? I don't know. Let's stop talking about this match. I'm done.
Because Hope Spot, John.
That was probably the most poorly executed Hope Spot I've ever seen. There was no tension, no anything. That was horrible.
Up next was Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose having a little bit of a confrontation backstage. Kevin Owens seems to be worried that Ambrose needs help.
Yeah. You know, and this might surprise people. I love Kevin Owens to death. That's not the surprising part. I really didn't get this, honestly.
Me neither.
Yeah, like, what are you doing, Kevin? Like, come on, man. I'm really pulling for you Money in the Bank, and I'm still sticking with it, but weren't you the same...
Adorable.
Beg pardon?
I said, that's adorable.
You mean like my blind faith in Lucha Underground winning the Lucha Libre World Cup? Yeah, I agree. It is adorable.
Even more adorable than that, even. Because at least then the members of the team that you wanted to win were under contract. In this case, Owens... Oh, those odds, though.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. When it does, I can't wait to hear your concession speech that I was right. Because it'll come. Because one thing I will always give my caller in commentary credit for, he's always willing to give me credit when I'm right. Mainly because it so rarely happens that it can't possibly pain him.
Hey, man, you're being more right than usual lately.
So, you know, maybe my streak will continue at Money in the Bank.
No, it's not going to, though. Ambrose is...
Wow. Oh, you've been more right than usually. Yeah, but it just all dies here, though. Just to really want to emphasize that. Yeah. But, no, just getting back on...
Just to be clear.
Getting back on task, though, because we can do all the stuff we're doing right now for preview and predictions, which I really am looking forward to. I don't get this, because in their Intercontinental Championship feud, Kevin even said, like, everybody just calls you doing this and that, but you're not. Like, I'm crazy because I'm obsessed with that Intercontinental Championship. So you go from that to saying, oh, I think you need help. Like, I love Kevin Owens to death, and he's on 95% of the time. Welcome to the other 5%, because that's what I felt like this was.
Oh, wow. You thought Owens was a little off here.
I do, because, like, I didn't get it, man. Like, I'm just like, I know Owens...
You know what this little confrontation felt like to me?
What's that?
It felt like a conversation you and I would have had if one of us was playing a video game and the other of us was talking to people online.
Yeah.
Like, we were both just kind of mindlessly like, oh, hey, John, you seem like you need a little help. Oh, I don't need help. I'm perfectly sane. Like, just completely mindlessly, not even thinking about what you're saying, and just word vomit.
And now I gotta ask you something, Ashton. Because, I mean, Ambrose had his retort where it's like, I don't need help. And he did, back it up with facts. I liked what Ambrose did. I've been noticing a current lately in my neck of the woods. Because I like I've always said, there are certain wrestling spaces that I go to that I know you don't frequent, and the same thing for you. And in my neck of the woods, I've noticed people are really starting to sour on Ambrose as a character and his promo skills. Where are you at with Ambrose as it relates? I mean, because I think, is he still your pick to Money in the Bank?
Yeah, he's definitely winning Money in the Bank. But moreover, the character is stale. It's simple. Like, and the thing is, it's not even Dean's fault that his character is stale. I blame it almost entirely on commentary.
Right.
Because when Dean Ambrose shows up, you hear the exact same things every single time, and most of them aren't even true.
Right.
Like, oh, here comes this psychopath, Michael. Like, he's just a normal guy. Like, there's nothing actually crazy about his actions.
Yeah.
But they keep on trying to build him up as this, like, crazy nuts, oh, he's a lunatic, Michael kind of guy. And it's just the hype isn't matching the actions.
Yeah, I mean, you're not talking about a guy. Because when I think, like, crazy characters, of course my mind immediately goes, my childhood. Cactus Jack McFoley. You're talking about a guy, he's not punching himself in the face until he bleeds. He's not, like, screaming at the top of his lungs. If anything, Ambrose's recent promos have been so chill that I'm wondering if he's hitting the bong before he hits the ring, because he really is, like, he's mellowed out. He's like, whatever, I'll climb ladders, I'll fall down, and I'll climb more ladders. That's literally more or less what he said in one of those Raw Fallout segments on the YouTube channel.
Oh, this guy's persistent. He's insane. Michael?
Yeah. And, like, where's the insanity? Because he's not, like, you know, contorting his face and making these weird expressions. He doesn't look like he needs to be restrained. He's a guy that can be intense, because I'd still say the best promo he's had, really, in his WWE career was the Ambrose Asylum match promo when Jericho was looking terrified. And now, lately, though, ever since he got that win, he's just mellowed out. It's like, whatever. Probably because he knows every time he's been in situations like this, he never actually wins. So maybe he's just downplaying it so he'll actually win this time, which is funny because in the Ambrose-Kevin Owens matchup later, commentary does go out of their way to mention how close Ambrose has come to being world champion in the past. I thought was an interesting point. But yeah, like, I haven't necessarily soured on Ambrose, but I mean, I agree with you. I don't think commentary does him any favors. I don't know what it's been like. I'd say the Seth Rollins feud was really good, but I really don't think Ambrose has been given really exceptional storylines. I still credit him and Jericho for making their program work, because the motivations were as ridiculous as you could possibly get. So yeah, I mean, I guess it was an okay.
You broke my TV show. You broke my TV show.
You killed my plants. You killed my plant.
You killed my jacket.
You know, like, stuff like that. So yeah, two quality performers, two guys that could run this shit. I just felt like I wasn't feeling it. Maybe it was me being a bit salty because you said this show put you in a bad mood with some of the really bad segments they had. Maybe you weren't the only one, because I just wasn't feeling this tonight.
Well, that would be a first, I feel like.
Yeah, really.
I feel like anytime I get put in a bad mood by an episode of wrestling, you're just like, oh, it's all right, man. Just relax. It's fine.
Not today. All right,
Not today.
What came after this?
Roman.
All right, what'd you think?
Garbage.
You didn't like this at all.
I thought that this was one of the most ridiculously masturbatory video packages that the WWE has ever put together. Do you even know how hard they had to edit the crowd reactions in this to try and make it seem like Roman was received well in anything?
Wouldn't it save them from expending so much of that same effort if they just embraced it?
Like, of course it would. But they're not concerned with not putting effort into things. Well, actually, I take that back. They are, which is kind of proven by the camera work on a weekly basis. But they're not as concerned with being able to not put effort into stuff as they are with getting Roman over.
They realize
and
this.
Simultaneously, while trying to get him over, trying to make it seem like he's already over.
It pains me, dude. It pains. And I've got to be so careful because I know anymore I'm prone with just lumping Roman and WWE together. But again, for the umpteenth, quadrillionth time, whatever the fucking number is, Roman can be fantastic. I don't understand why WWE feels the need to package and process and psychologically manipulate us into really consuming this image of Roman Reigns that they are working so hard to manufacture. It just boggles the mind. Really does. And you don't
know who could really use a spin job as epic as the one WWE's trying to pull on Roman Reigns right now?
Who's that?
Hillary Clinton.
Oh, snap. I just read an article tonight, too, that she's the presumptive nominee because she got the delegate count. But yeah, I mean, she could certainly use one of those without question. My God, she wishes WWE was her PR team. And as far as Roman's concerned, you don't even do yourself any favors when in the preceding video package with Seth, you show the surgery clips and you show the comeback. Like, yeah, I think that if I was WWE champion for what was it for Seth reign? Like 7 months, 7, 8 months? Yeah,
I think 7, yeah.
yeah, and I'm this close to WrestleMania because I got injured in November. I'd be fucking pissed too. I don't blame Seth Rollins. That's a very human response. Why would you show that humanity for a guy that you're clearly trying to make the bad guy when you have him tell the first audience he appears in front of, well, not counting Extreme Rules, you know what I mean, like actually on
The
TV
first audience that he has the opportunity to speak to.
Exactly. You have him say to all of their faces, I took all of your get well cards, I put them in a garbage can, and I set it on fire. Like, I burned them. And yet,
Come on, Seth. A little hyperbolic, no?
Well, it's Seth freaking Rollins. If anybody has a right to hyperbole, I'd say it's him. But WWE doesn't have a right to anything. Like, tell your freaking story and tell it right, because they are right about one thing. Like, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, given their history, should be a big deal. But my God, does WWE know how to mismanage the ball when it matters most?
Dude, how many times have I said, and I'm going to keep on saying it because I feel like it's the kind of soundbite that needs to be heard by everyone. There is no company in the world of professional wrestling that is better at catching lightning in a bottle than the WWE. And there's also no company on the face of the planet in the world of pro wrestling that is better at screwing up when they finally get that lightning in a bottle than WWE.
Exactly.
They create moments better than anyone else. Even, I will say, the WWE is even better at just creating single individual awesome moments than Lucha Underground, which is an insane thing to come out of my freaking mouth. But the thing is, they are literally incapable of following up on them.
Yeah, and that's where Lucha Underground retakes control of the ball
exactly.
Because the payoffs they have.
It's neck and neck. Like, Raw is like a 90 out of 100 when it comes to catching lightning in a bottle. Lucha Underground's like 87 out of 100. It's close. But when it comes to being able to follow up on catching lightning in a bottle, Lucha Underground's 95 out of 100. Raw is like 12 out of 100.
Exactly. Like, where the dude, I don't even know. And I already have some ideas about how Roman Seth is going to go. I'm going to stay tight-lipped until previewing predictions. But my God, if it does go the way that I think it's going to go, because I really don't believe that this is going to be the only match. Like, this is the program. It's going to be a legit program. You have got to step it up.
I mean, we aren't even doing preview and predictions until next Saturday.
Right.
I'm just going to tell you straight up right now, spoiler alert, I don't think that this match is even going to have a finish.
See, and you know what? I'll come out and I'll say right now, also, spoiler alert, I agree. If I take what you're saying to mean what I think it means, yeah, I agree. Which means that these guys are going to be seeing a hell of a lot more of each other, and probably even at SummerSlam. And if that's the case, good God, you've got to step it up.
Well, yeah, because we're going to get that Shield triple threat at SummerSlam because Dean's going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Well, see, you're wrong, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Doesn't change the fact, though, that Seth and Roman, like, it's completely, I think somebody used the phrase tone deaf, and I agree with that. Like, they just don't really know what's going on. It's like they think this program's happening in a vacuum. And if it was, everything they're doing right now would be acceptable, but it's not.
Yep.
It's not. There's real human response going on here, and they're not taking stock of it. And to say it's frustrating.
It's so funny, too, because, I mean, the thing with WWE is not only do they have live response from the crowd,
right,
but then they also have a week's worth of responses from the internet and from criticism and from reviews and from podcasts and from just every social media, everything, to realize that what they're doing is not working.
Yeah.
Lucha Underground only has the live aspect as far as what a response is, and they're still infinitely better at writing for their crowd than WWE.
Because I really believe they take stock of not just the Temple, but even after it's already aired and, like, what's done is done, they do really look out and see what people have said about what they've produced, and they take that into consideration. I feel like, and we've talked about this before with Vince McMahon and the people with their fingers on the button, there is just this willful ignorance, like, nope, their opinions don't matter, nope, they're going to love it because I know what they want better than they do. And that's the sentiment. And you see that here, and it just makes me so frustrated because I want to like this match. I want to be excited for it.
Vince has this air of, if I like it, so will my crowd.
Exactly.
If I think that I could beat you up, the crowd probably would think that I could beat you up too, so why the hell would I want you as my champion?
Exactly. I've said all I can say about this. Do you have anything else you want to say, or can we move on?
That's really all you feel like you can say?
I could probably say a lot more.
Can we talk about the declining ratings, and especially and specifically the fact that the male audience for the WWE is declining at a staggering rate?
Like, how staggering are we talking here?
Staggering enough that Meltzer brings it up.
Jesus.
Meltzer brings up that the male audience is dropping bad, and the female audience is rising, but it's not nearly enough to keep up with how badly the male audience is dropping.
Well, for those males that are leaving, I do want to emphasize Lucha Underground is a thing.
Here's the thing. Let me put it this way, too. Last week, we had John Cena's advertised for 2 weeks return to Monday Night Raw. The rating was a 2.13.
Shit.
That's abysmal.
Yeah, those are like, and I'm not even joking here, those are numbers I'd associate with a SmackDown, not a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Like
2.13. If you drop down below a 2, I think that's when panic mode needs to get hit.
Right.
Because you were at, I think it was like a 3.1 or a 3.2 before the move to 3 hours. And when you're at 3 hours, you want to be getting a minimum of 2/3 the audience you were getting at 2 hours. 2/3 of 3.1 or 3.2 is, 2.07, 2.13, somewhere around there. You're already at 2.13. How much further are you going to let yourselves drop before you realize that 3 hours is detrimental?
Until, I guess, the USA feels like their pockets are fat enough.
Dude, I'm telling you, if they keep up the Roman experiment for as long as I think they're going to, and the male audience continues to decline at the rate it's declining, and the female audience continues to either A, only grow as much as it's growing now, or B, grow any less than it's growing now, the next time the WWE has negotiations with the USA Network for their TV deal, they're boned hard.
Yeah.
And the worst thing, too, is that the USA Network is really apprehensive about this move from SmackDown to be live.
Really?
They are not supporting it financially at all. The WWE is supporting the move from Thursdays to Tuesdays and the move from taped to live entirely out of pocket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I honestly, and again, I don't think this is so much a spoiler for preview predictions. I would love if Roman and Seth did a double turn at Money in the Bank, and when we just really committed to it and we told a great story, because a lot of people were even saying too, well, after this, Seth's going to have the feud with Triple H, which we haven't seen Triple H in forever, so part of me even really doubts it at this point. But say it was true, right? Say for the sake of argument that is going to happen. That is going to leave me with such a disconnect if you don't even try and hint at he's going the other way, and you're really committed to keeping him heel for this program. Like, if a face turn's imminent, because Stephanie clearly showed him a cold shoulder, which has become even more interesting because clearly she's still a heel after this week.
Yeah.
Why am I going to give a shit when you've committed to Seth, not even showing an inkling of, oh, I missed you guys, or, oh, look at that, Seth's got the heart of a champion, or anything like that. He's still a douchebag. Like, I love
Well,
Seth
that should
forever,
be
you know.
ideal for you. You should embrace it, right?
Well, I mean, me personally, I embrace it. I love laughing at the misfortunes of others. So, to me and Seth will laugh at everybody all day long, whether it's Sami Zayn, Dean Ambrose, whatever. But for the general audience, and even me to a degree, narratively speaking, because I'll support scumbags all day long, doesn't mean I'll settle for a crap narrative. Like, I just feel like WWE is setting themselves up for something really bad in terms of the handling of Seth, which is a crying shame because we're the two guys that have been saying consistently now Seth would make a killing as a babyface. I mean, sell and move that merch like nobody's business.
I really wish that there was like a way to search through a YouTube archive for specific audio, because I want to go back and find us just talking about sort of the future of the Shield after they break up, because I was saying for so freaking long that Roman needs to be the one to turn heel.
Right.
And Seth needs to be a babyface, and Dean needs to be sort of like a badass tweener type, right?
Yeah.
It still hasn't happened, and it's still the best possible scenario.
It is. It absolutely
2 years
is.
later, 2 years after the breakup, almost to the day. And it still applies.
And, the crazy thing is, Ashton, at least in my opinion, even now, after all of this time, all the time that's passed, it really wouldn't be that hard to facilitate to me. It really wouldn't be. You would just have to give a shit, and therein lies the problem. Because they don't. And if you're telling me numbers can get that low, and they are still committed to the Roman Reigns experiment of let's make him a babyface, because he's a great fucking talent, people. Us saying he doesn't work as a face is not equivalent to he doesn't work just as a talent in general. Not the same. Not equivalent statements. He can be an amazing asset if you use him properly. This is not proper usage. And by the way to even use Seth properly as a heel, showing surgery footage. Again, it goes back to, I can't get into this feud, dude. I haven't gotten into it the moment Seth opened his mouth and spit in all of our faces, because I'm like, oh shit, I know what they're doing. And last week sure as hell didn't do it. What, this freaking grade school? Oh, I'm gonna come in. Oh, but I'm not. Oh, but I'm coming in. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm gonna really do it. No, I'm just playing. I'll see you money in the back. Like, what? What is this? And Roman's just looking on like, I'm going to do something? It's Roman Reigns time. I can't be here all night. I don't get it. Oh God, it frustrates me so bad. Because they're two great guys, two great performers, It's just, it doesn't work. It just really doesn't work. And this video package was yet another example of that, because it was the same stuff. Oh, the WrestleMania loss really hurt me. You main evented WrestleMania again a year later, and you got the prize. Get over it. It's over.
And that's the great thing, too, is that, like, here's the thing, John. Even if you had no clue who was who, whether you have no predisposition for Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, you are just coming into this, and somebody tells you this story. Once upon a time, there was a 3-man group in pro wrestling. The one guy broke the group up to join an evil faction, and using the resources at his disposal because of being in this evil faction, he won an opportunity at a championship. The following year, at the biggest show of the year, he used that opportunity to win said championship and would hold it for 7 months until an injury would take him out of action. While he was injured, one of the members of his former faction would rise to the top and end up winning the championship that this guy held for 7 months. He would win the championship from the sort of head of the evil faction that the guy was originally in. At the show, 1 year removed from the show that the guy originally cashed in his opportunity. Like, the narrative plays out as Seth Rollins being the good conquering hero and Roman being this super douchey, like, dude, you took this guy's title while he was hurt, and now you're trying to hold it hostage and keep him from having an opportunity at it again. Like, you're the ultimate douchebag right now.
Yeah. Yeah, like nothing about Seth's narrative as far of redesign, rebuild, reclaim, which has been his whole thing, has made him a bad guy in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's never, there's no precedent for a guy being a bad guy under those circumstances. Because it's, oh, you know, how inspirational the injury they came back from. Meanwhile, Roman, you know, he won a championship that, I mean, Seth had a great soundbite. Roman's a placeholder. And he really is, because until you've beaten the guy that, you know, never lost the thing, how can you be recognized as a real champion? And then when you're like, oh, well, I fought and this and that, well, so did the guy that never lost it. You know, I don't know, dude. I'm just feeling no resonance with this.
Here's the thing, too. Can I also point out that the WWE, with their wonderful revisionist history, still, to this day, tries to make it seem like Seth screwed Roman out of the championship, when the last thing that happened in that title match before Seth cashed in was a Brock Lesnar F5 onto Roman Reigns.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, dude. Just crazy to me. I want to get through Money in the Bank. I really have no interest in this feud. Honestly, I mean, the match I am looking forward to most is the Money in the Bank ladder match at this point. That, and then I'd say Cena Styles comes second. I don't even know if this places third, simply with the narrative they're doing. It's just, I just feel a disconnect.
It definitely does not place third for me.
And I have to be right there with you, dude. Like, it is so sad. But honestly, the Fatal 4-Way Tag match we got announced tonight, that probably takes third for me.
Yeah.
You know, like, wow, guys, you really screwed up. But anyway, anything else you want to say about this?
Oh, there's a lot that I could say about this, but we don't have the time. So let's move on. Up next was our fifth match of the night, Dean versus Kevin Owens. And yeah, I mean, it was an all right match. Owens did some pretty cool stuff on the outside of the ring with when Ambrose went for a suicide dive. Owens caught him and rammed Ambrose up against the apron. But Ambrose did end up winning the match with dirty deeds. And then he went to try and climb a ladder and grab the briefcase. But Owens pushed the ladder over, caught Ambrose on the rope, and then pointed at the briefcase and said it was his.
Yeah, he seemed like he was going to climb it and take it like Cesaro did on the last SmackDown. Didn't do it. He just said, that is mine. I got goosebumps, you know, because I like that he teased it but didn't do it because he wanted to save it for the real thing. So post-match was good. Match itself was good too, but again, I've seen it so many times, and honestly, even I should have been able to telegraph that Ambrose was winning, because it really does seem in a one-on-one context to have Owens' number. So yeah, good stuff, but I'm glad we got past it. I'm just more looking forward to the ladder match at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so up next was another amazing Darren Young, Make Darren Young Great Again video. The thing about these that makes them so good is just how ridiculous they are.
Yeah.
Like, it's the what's the word? I want to say obscure, but that's not right. Not abstract. What's the word I'm looking for here, John? Help me out.
Surreal? No, not surreal. No. Because I think I know what word you're trying.
The absurdity. It's the absurdity that makes these things great. Because Darren Young is talking about how he just finished his run, and before he even gets a chance to finish that thought, Bob Backlund cuts him off with, "Don't ever run!"
This is great.
Walk briskly.
Is it hyperbole for me to say that I think this is one of the best things WWE is going on right now?
No,
because
everything else is pretty bad.
I'm really enjoying these.
I would place this in like the top 5 of the most interesting storylines currently going on in WWE.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm right there with you. Like, I'm really intrigued.
But then again, just because I'm me, I would also put the Shining Stars in that category, and we haven't seen them wrestle since their first match.
Yeah, Vince, way to be a quitter. I mean, you even gave the XFL more of a chance than this. I mean, just a bunch of bullcrap.
Sadly, that's actually true. He gave XFL almost a full year before he gave up on it.
Exactly. So, you know, I'm really intrigued, though. Like, how far is this going to take Darren Young? What's the payoff?
I'll tell you where it's going to take him. It's going to take him to greatness again.
I hope you're right, dude. I really do. Because to me, and see, that's the big difference. WWE is trying to do something with Titus in the U.S. title picture. To me, it's a colossal fail. But they're starting off with Darren Young's single push on the right foot in my mind. I just hope that they don't trip up sooner or later, as they're prone to do, because I really do see potential in this. I could see Darren winning a mid-card title with this, and I would like to see that for him. You know, I mean, I know you've always talked about what a great worker he is. You've especially liked how he hits the ropes. Well, he did that one time. He seemed to give up on it after that, but yeah, he's definitely got a unique style. And definitely hope for the best for him, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, don't depress me.
I'm sorry. So what came after this?
Bob Backlund is the lamp from the Pixar logo.
That's right.
All right, up next, though, I just really wanted to stall because up next was a Charlotte segment.
I'm sorry I'm doing this to you, but I'm going to give you the ball first. What'd you think about it?
I don't want to talk about this segment yet. Because I want to say that I had an epiphany tonight.
Oh, okay. I'm really curious where this is going. All right.
I realized why I hate Charlotte's overly emotional promos as much as I do.
Why is that?
Because when she gets into her big, over-the-top, boastful, angry voice, she sounds like she's doing a fucking John Wayne impression.
Really? I'll have to go back and listen and really pay your criticism of mine while I'm watching, because that's definitely a very interesting take.
My mind is blown that didn't click for you right away. Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my god. It's like she's like, oh, no, like I can't even. I don't know any very specific John Wayne lines, but when she gets into, like, when she was talking to her dad and she was like, you know, telling him to get out of my ring, it sounded like she's doing a freaking John Wayne impression. Get out of my ring, pilgrims.
Oh my god.
You understand what I'm saying now?
A little bit. That's a weird connection to make, but maybe not entirely without merit.
It's not even the fact that it sounds like she's specifically trying to be John Wayne that annoys me. It's that she's talking in that way.
Right.
Like, that's what gets under my skin as much as it does, is that she's trying to be, like, all big and boastful, and it just comes off as kill yourself.
I wanted to know what you thought of this one criticism of Charlotte that was, well, I shouldn't say brought to my attention. I saw it on my timeline on Twitter from, I believe, Shroommeister. He said,
I like Shroommeister. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Those Yu-Gi-Oh cards you make out of performers are beasts, dude. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check out his Twitter. They're really well designed. But
yeah,
he had a criticism of Charlotte. I wonder what you thought about this. He said that she seems to have a tendency to like fall into a cadence with the what chants. And, like, I don't know if you picked up on that. Because, like, yeah, they do what her a lot. And I guess, I don't know if he was trying to say, like, the way she talks, she opens herself up more to being whatted because there's, like, a kind of rhythm or something. Did you notice anything about that with how she talks?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, she does that and she falls into that rhythm. And then when the crowd starts wetting her, she gets offended by it and she lashes out.
Right.
She didn't do that tonight, but she's been sort of prone to doing that in her career.
Yeah, you know, for me, I'm just going to take the ball for a quick second. I'm guessing you're already in so much pain talking about this segment as is. You know, Charlotte's promo was whatever. Pretty much any criticism we've given about Charlotte before, you could just apply here, you know, lather, rinse, repeat. What kind of bothered me about this particular promo, first of all, Natalya comes out. Oh, and like you even said in conversation.
Why are you moving past everything?
Wait, what?
This is horrible. Natalya, she's just awful. Why?
Oh, you're saying, like, why? I thought I forgot something. You were kind of getting on me for.
You just keep on moving along, and it just keeps getting worse.
And they come out. My big thing with this is, why did they make such a big deal about Dana Brooke? Like, I'm like...
I'll tell you why, because Vince likes her. That's why.
Probably. Oh my god.
No, it's not even a probably. Apparently, Vince actually really likes her and wants to make her the Roman of the females.
Oh, fuck. That means she's going to be a WWE Women's Champion, isn't she? Is she going to be one before Sasha?
Oh.
Don't tell me she's going to be one before Sasha.
No, because Sasha's going to be one at SummerSlam.
And she's going to hold it forever, right? Forever and ever.
Till she loses it to Dana.
Don't talk like that, man! Don't talk like that. We needed you. Oh God, why do I live?
You asked yourself that, and yet I have to suffer through Charlotte promos, John.
Oh, we suffer together.
You know damn well that when Charlotte speaks, I groan so much harder than you.
That's so true, and to be honest, I kind of giggle a little. At your groans, I mean, not the Charlotte promo. So,
well, yeah, if you would giggle at them, it would be understandable, because they're laughably bad.
But yeah, they're like making this big stink about, Dana, you have options. Like, what?
Like, really hard going in trying to recruit Dana to their side, because clearly she's the missing piece.
And my problem with this, Ashton, it doesn't even... Okay, let me back it up. Obviously, I am like joking a little bit and throwing the barbs at how I think of Dana personally. But even if I was to put that aside and look at this from purely a kayfabe context, what has Dana really done in this business yet that makes her a valuable asset? This isn't like if it was, say... God, well, I mean, yeah, if it was a Sasha and she decided to bury whatever and, like, form with Charlotte and be this power duo, and these guys were talking to him like, hey, we may have our differences, but you know you're too good for this and this and that. Like, that would work, because Sasha has stock. Dana has no stock right now. Why are you trying to get this piece on your side when she's still incredibly green? I do want to believe she has something, but I'm not nearly as gung-ho about her as Vince is, apparently. And I just didn't get it. I was laughing. I'm like, wow, that's your ace. You're going to try and recruit Dana and just make sure Charlotte doesn't have anything. I don't freaking know, man.
And you know what the dumb part here was?
What, besides everything?
Well, no, but literally dumb, because the babyfaces looked incredibly stupid here yet again, because they let Dana get as close to them as they did, and then she clubbed them.
Yeah, then the heels beat them down.
And the heels came out on top, too. That's the worst part.
And we still don't even have a women's championship match for Money in the Bank. Like, here I thought we were going to get this really revolutionary thing with the women. And not only haven't we gotten anything new and exciting, like, we haven't gotten anything at all, which is even worse. Like, I really feel like they're stagnating right now because so much emphasis is put on Charlotte and Dana. And Ashton, before we move on, I just got to say, too, I swear to God, if I see one more time that recap of Charlotte tearing into her father, we get it. It was emotionally devastating.
To the audience, because we had to suffer through watching it.
I was sick of it when it started. Dude, I'm going to remember this storyline forever, and for no other reason because of your salt. Your salt is the only thing making this legend status.
WWE has made our year-end awards so easy because every worst category is going to have Charlotte in it. Worst feud, Charlotte versus Natalya. Worst storyline, Charlotte and her father being a unit. Worst heel, Charlotte. Worst diva, Charlotte. Worst anything, Charlotte. Worst talker, Charlotte.
And if you guys know Ashton at all, he's going to remember this conversation come the time for our year-end awards.
I might even save this conversation and just paste it into our year-end awards video. I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just trying to make a point.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, even if I don't follow suit with you, like, anybody that knows you that's been listening to this program long enough, I certainly know it. Like, you're gonna stick to that. You're pretty much telling them, hey, guys, I'm wearing the neon sign. This is my worst of, because I don't know if anybody can top Charlotte. I mean, you're the one that said it. Do you think that anybody can upend Charlotte?
For what?
For the worst of? Or do you think she has a lock on it?
Worst of? She's got them all locked down.
Well, I mean, worst heel, for instance.
Maybe Del Rio. I don't know. I doubt if they bring Nikki Bella back and she continues to think she's a face despite being a heel.
Yeah, I guess. See, the thing with Del Rio,
Dana Brooke could probably do it, honestly.
Yeah, if she steps up, if Vince is crazy about her.
Terrible heel.
Yeah. So maybe there is time for Charlotte to get off some of your lists, but I know she won't be able to avoid all the fire. God, this is horrible.
Dude, it would require another Rusev Lana Summer Dolph angle for anything to one-up worst feud and worst angle for Charlotte being involved with Natalya and Ric Flair.
Right.
Seriously, it's that bad.
Yeah. All right, well.
Or the alternative is it would require for me to start watching TNA.
Well, we don't want you to do that.
No.
I mean, even I think that's a bit excessive. So,
an unusual punishment.
I know.
As if Charlotte's promos weren't enough.
But I've said all about Charlotte and her segment that I care to say, so if you have anything else you want to say, we can move on.
This is the best part of the night, the part where we're done talking about Charlotte. Anyway, Cole plugs NXT TakeOver the end, and he and JBL go over the card. Specifically, they talk about Joe Balor, Asuka Naya, and Byron Saxton calls Nakamura Austin Aries a potential Match of the Year candidate.
Oh, shut up, Byron.
Oh.
Well, I mean, Nakamura's great, but Austin Aries, I mean, we've been down this rabbit hole, so.
But Nakamura, though?
Nakamura, though. And that's the appropriate response. Nakamura, though.
Exactly. So up next, we get a video from the Shining Stars. I just don't care anymore. I want to see these guys fight.
Me too. I'm right there with you. Let's move on.
It's like our ratio of video packages to matches was at like 1-6, and that was bad, but I was looking forward to it increasing, and now we're at like 1-10.
Yeah. When are these guys going to get in the ring again? What are they going to do when they get in the ring again? Like, are you going to put any momentum behind them at all? And it just seems like all of the answers are never, nothing, and no. That's just it.
And up next, we had one of the most entertaining segments of the night, if for no other reason because of the backstage sort of pre-tape that we get before the match starts. Tyler Breeze versus R-Truth, but more importantly, before the match, we get a pre-tape of Breezango, where Breeze is shaving Fandango's back.
Now, it sounds hideous, but it was actually pretty glorious. Yeah, I mean, this team, I think, works really well together on a comedic level and a chemistry level. And honestly, it's I shouldn't say it's a shame that the tag division's as saturated as it is, because obviously we want that. But given the names involved, like vying for the tag titles, it's a shame that Breezango probably won't realistically find a space, at least not anytime soon. Because, man, I would not mind seeing these guys as tag team champions, and I'm being 100% serious about that. Like, these two guys are great.
I like Tyler Breeze.
Right.
But cue up the I Love You of the Week drop, because I freaking love Fandango.
He's so good, dude.
He's awesome. Like, Breeze is shaving his back, and he's like, oh, there's a treatment that I just got a few years ago where they just remove all of the hair follicles right out of your body. And Fandango's like, oh, yeah, the lack of hair really makes your body more aero-gigantic.
Just fantastic.
Aero-gigantic. I love it. It's amazing, like a giant arrow, he says. And Breeze is like, oh, that's an interesting term. And then Fandango's just like, yeah, it's science. Fandango is amazing. And this match was just Tyler Breeze versus R-Truth, which didn't even end up really happening because we had a breakdown, and then Teddy Long showed up and was senile, and then Stephanie forced him out via security.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Like, I loved what Fandango and Breeze did, but we didn't even get anything because, like you said, it broke out into a brawl. I thought we were going to get a tag team match, but then I remembered, oh, thank goodness Teddy doesn't have any authority because he snuck into the building. And, yeah, that was that. So we can move on.
Well, not really, because we're already on Teddy Long, and Stephanie confronts him backstage.
Okay, so we do get this segment where she just utterly eviscerates him.
Yeah. Like, there is no character in the history of the professional wrestling industry that has had more unsigned checks than Stephanie McMahon.
You know what?
I'm sorry, not unsigned, uncashed. Uncashed checks.
Yeah.
She signs so many checks with her mouth and with her hand, and she's had so few of them cashed. So very few.
Yeah. I'll tell you what this segment did for me. It really made me miss Emma, and I know that's weird because it's like, where's the connection? It made me miss her because when Stephanie's like, I'll tell you who's running SmackDown. It's me. Nobody does heel. It's all about me.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's about me. She even had the Raw fallout. Tom, remind me, who's this about? You? It's about me. And she walks off, and I'm like, I miss her. I miss her so much. And yes, for those wondering, it does hurt when I see on her timeline pictures of her and Zack Ryder together, but that's not the point. I just want to see her, you know? I want to see her compete. I want to see her do what she does. I don't even have to speak for you, bro, that I know either one of us would kill to see her over a Charlotte segment every week.
Oh my God.
No fucking contest, right?
No contest whatsoever.
And then when Stephanie's like, it's gonna be me, I just like, where is she?
What are you doing, Stephanie? Singing an NSYNC song?
Yeah, look at you. God, we're so dated. But
sound like Justin Timberlake. What's your problem?
But yeah, I'm just like, why not have Emma control SmackDown? She'd be a much better heel authority figure because she would really make it all about her.
And in a way that would actually be able to take the bumps required to get the payback that a heel needs.
Exactly. Oh, God, you know, Stephanie, you want to lambaste Teddy Long, and certainly all of your criticisms have merit, but you're no better. You're both awful. And it's ironic because when I was younger and Steph was a babyface, I loved her GM run on SmackDown, and I loved Teddy's GM run on SmackDown. But now I couldn't care if either of you ran SmackDown. Oh my God, I am bitter, and you two are awful. Everybody loses, guys. Everybody loses.
Just because you were just bringing up the idea of Emma over Charlotte and just the Charlotte segment all over again. Someone on Reddit said that Natalya, when she speaks, sounds like a Bob's Burgers character, and that they can't take her seriously because of
it. What do you think of that assessment?
You know, that actually would go really far to explain why I hate her face so much.
You're probably right. Oh my God. I feel like I'm at one of those bomb moments. Oh my God.
Because like the Bella twins, when they speak, it's Jocelyn through and through.
Right.
Like, do you know what? That kind of thing, you know?
Right.
And Natalya, yeah, I hear it. I hear it 100%. I don't know who it is, but I get it.
Yeah.
She's the worst. I mean, she's not because she's not Charlotte, but still, she's the worst.
Alright, so what came after Teddy Long being utterly just eviscerated and then leaving?
Muhammad Ali video tribute, and then we got an announcement that next week on Raw we were going to be getting the Ambrose Asylum with Rollins and Reigns. And then we get our final match, our main event of the evening, the Club versus the New Day.
Oh, thank goodness we're at main event time.
Yeah, it's like we've been jumping from island to island throughout this entire Raw, where the ocean is bad segments and the islands are good segments.
Right.
And we're just we're literally just, when we stand on an island, it's barely bigger than our feet.
Exactly. The Club early on just decimate the New Day, and so much so that Xavier Woods gets laid out. Styles clash on the floor. Now, let me ask you something, Ashton. Just a quick opinion I want to field your way.
Oh boy.
Were they smart to do it the way they did in 2-on-3, or would you have had, because I know there was a bit of a debate about this on my Twitter, would you have had John Cena come out and make that the new six-man tag so we get a bit of a tease of Cena and Styles in the same ring, or do you like how they put
I really, really hated this. Not even because Cena wasn't involved, but because I despise it when you take a babyface team versus a heel team and you give the babyface team a natural disadvantage. Because then that's like the laziest form of writing, because then you can either A, the babyface team wins and they overcame the odds, or B, the heel team wins and, well, I mean, yeah, of course the heel team won because the babyface team was at a man advantage, blah, blah, blah. If it was a real even fight, they would have won, right, guys? It's the biggest cop-out imaginable.
Right, I can see what you're saying.
The only bigger cop-out than the man disadvantage in the multiple-man tag match is the injury angle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Sami Zayn's hurt. No wonder Alberto Del Rio beat him. Or, oh, Sami Zayn's hurt. It's amazing that he overcame the injury to beat Alberto Del Rio.
Right, exactly.
I just hate those cop-outs. They're such awful, overplayed cliche tropes in wrestling, and they need to die.
I do agree with you. I feel like WWE did miss an opportunity. Personally, I would have had Cena be the substitute, if for
See,
no other reason because
I wouldn't have even had Cena come out. I just never would have done the Xavier injury to begin with. Do you realize how freaking over he was in the initial brawl that caused his injury in the first place?
yeah, that's really the real loser here is Xavier. Like, what? He's not good enough to get shine in the Raw main event with the
Dude,
club.
that
Like,
suicide dive that he did onto Anderson and then immediately coming over to the other side of the ring and taking out AJ, that moment was huge for him, and then he didn't even get to participate in the match.
that's really a shame. Yeah, like I actually legitimately feel bad for Xavier Woods now because you put it that way. I feel like he got gypped.
He did.
Um,
He big time did.
because you create an atmosphere like that. Probably, and I don't want to commit hyperbole here, but the crowd was all right for most of the night. But I would say that Xavier would be at least a contender. I'm not going to call him the definitive winner, but contender for pop of the night with the moves that he did and the offense he got. Crowd seemed to respond really well to him, and he doesn't even get to reap the fruit. So that really sucks. Solid match here, solid handicap match, I guess. AJ wins with the pin on Kofi after the phenomenal forearm. But then you have, they're beating him down, whatever, but then Cena comes out, but then it seems like AJ has the advantage again. But oh, wait, Kofi does a springboard. He takes AJ out.
That was a really cool spot, that springboard missile drop kick.
Yeah, I did like that. I will give Kofi
cool.
that.
Kofi hit a smooth as hell SOS in this match, too.
Yeah, man, Kofi was on point tonight, definitely.
The entire New Day was great tonight. They cut a promo on the way to the ring, too. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah, where it's like, well, we know you're not the hair club for men. You're so unbelievably bald.
And we know also that you're not... What was the other club? Oh, the Mickey Mouse Club. And then Xavier started saying, M-I-C-K-E-Y. And no, Big E is just like, no, don't get a suit now. Copyright infringement is a real thing.
Exactly.
That was great. And then they said, well, we don't know what club you're in, but we know what club we're in, and that is the W. And they do that whole thing with the tag champs. And then they say, which is the only club that matters, and therefore, whatever club you're in, your club doesn't matter.
Yeah. I love
that was so good. And then honestly, the ensuing brawl was great too. But then let's get back to the match itself. And really, we were even at the post match. I kind of, rubber banded our way back to the beginning of it. But back to the post match, of course, babyfaces stand tall. But I like what AJ kind of did from a mind games perspective before Kofi's dropkick.
Yeah, because he started like punching Cena again like he did last week.
Well, specifically, he sent the club guys out after Cena. Cena took care of them. Cena got in the ring. AJ rolled out of the ring. And then the club guys got back up on the apron. Cena knocked them out. But by the time Cena turned back around, AJ was in his face and knocked him out.
Right.
I liked that. That was like some Sun Tzu Art of War shit.
Yeah, that was good stuff from AJ, without question. But
the
then
old bait and switch.
There you go. Anderson got hit with a big ending, which I felt like that was a really cool looking big ending from Big E. Gallows got intercepted with an AA. And yeah, Kofi, Big E, and Cena stand tall to end the show. Yep. Still really sucks for Xavier. Like, that should have been me, man. But, what are you going to do? And that was Raw.
It's some old bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, with that said, this should be interesting. Our next segment, high spots and low shots.
Oh, I won't make it too interesting, don't worry.
Yeah, I guess I won't either. You know what? My low shot, I guess, is going to be Xavier Woods. I mean, I know, like, non-kayfabe reasons it would be enough, but I mean, yeah, he didn't even really get to participate in the main event. He got beaten down by the club, ate a Styles clash on the floor. And yeah, so I'd say he had a really rough night. I'd say Xavier Woods is my low shot.
That's definitely understandable.
Yeah, so who you got?
Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a super entertaining match by any means, and he lost in possibly the dumbest way imaginable.
Yeah, that was awful.
Honorary high spot goes to Teddy Long, though, because, senility.
You mean honorary low shot, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Well, yeah, I already gave my low shot as Xavier Woods.
Apparently, Teddy isn't the only one slightly senile. Am I right?
Yes.
That hesitation, not even really that much hesitation response, though.
Oh god, I had more enjoyment in that one little exchange than the last 3 hours of Raw. My high spot, I'm gonna say Cesaro, because I thought he looked strong in his own way in the opening segment with the quips. He was able to hold his own with Jericho,
Even though the way he stood on the ladder made him look weak.
Of course. But then
That was such a Vince thing of me to say.
I was kind of thinking like that's an interesting vantage point to take. I wouldn't have thought about it in those terms. But then Cesaro bounces back and he does win by submission, no less, making Jericho his bitch with those tap outs. So yeah, Cesaro's my high spot.
Yeah, my high spot's Fandango, man.
Nice, dude. Nice.
He's just so good. He's so entertaining. Like, every time I start to feel like, Fandango, he's all right, but there's a reason he's not on TV. He does something like this, and it's like, oh, God, I'm so stupid. Fandango is the best.
Yeah. Dude, I applaud your high spot, because I know this Raw was rough, and clearly Fandango brought a sense of enjoyment to you, and you went with it.
Yeah.
I approve of that. So, with that said...
Well, guess it's a good thing I got your stamp of approval.
Obviously. So, with that said, let's move on to our next segment, Raw Request. And yes, I'm sure you all know what I want to say, do better, or any variation
or
thereof.
Or try harder, or suck less, or etc., etc.
Yes, exactly. As I said, any variation thereof.
Yeah.
But I actually have to do my job.
Do more.
So, I will say this, and now let me put my Raw Request in context. Shout out to Puitoff, that is Pro Wrestling is taking over Facebook. Member Dylan Wynn, who put together the puzzle pieces that Bray Wyatt will more than likely be back next week, because he made an allusion to New Orleans, and that's where Raw is next week through the song "There Is a House in New Orleans." And so if Bray is, yeah, did you say something?
I said good song.
Yeah, definitely. I love that song. So if Bray is coming back next week, then my Raw request is have his re-entry into the product, do it right, because because I still believe, you may not agree with me, but I still believe, and in fact, I know you were saying it too, I just don't know if you got off the train or not, he'll be the 7th man in Money in the Bank, so I still believe that next week.
Yeah, he's going to be, but he's also going to be doing it as a heel.
I hope you're wrong. I really do. So, okay, well, whether he does it as a face or a heel, though I hope it's face, and that's really where this is coming from.
Oh.
I don't know how you want to get around to the mat, because I don't want him to just be shoehorned in, you know what I mean? Even if you want to do only one Money in the Bank qualifier on SmackDown, and it is Bray's.
He's getting shoehorned hard.
Which really, because everybody else earned their spot. It's not going to make him look good.
Yeah, he'll earn his spot, but it won't be with a match.
It'll be, he'll talk his way into the match? He'll seduce Stephanie with a promo?
What else does Bray Wyatt do other than talk his way into things?
I hate that you're so right. Yeah, give him a match. That'll be my Raw request, because you're not wrong, right? So, do it. Have him come back as a babyface. It'll be part 1, because I hate that you're probably right about that, too. God, why is your face so right now?
You're really reaching on this. I think I might make my Raw request to turn Roman heel.
Between, John, Kevin Owens winning Money in the Bank, you're so adorable, and now this? I will not have my judgment questioned, sir. The hell is this?
You see that judgment, John?
Dude, I cannot wait for at least for Kevin Owens to win Money in the Bank, because I was about ready to say really obscene things that I would want to do being right, but...
Oh, you know that judgment you've got there, John?
What's that? Yeah?
I'm questioning it.
Wow. What, dude? I really hope he wins now, simply so I could be like, yeah, eat my shit, and then just go on, the biggest rant ever that makes me seem like such a huge dick, but I'm totally unapologetic about it. Pretty much my life. So, yeah, bring Bray back, give him a match, hopefully keep him babyface, but even if you don't, have him go through the process.
Now you're settling on your Raw request.
Hey, look, I am not settling when we do my goddamn Raw request. And have him look dominant on the Raw Go Home show, because Bray has been out for several weeks, and I think if he is going to come back, he needs to come back in a huge way. I would actually have him close the show. So yeah, that's my request.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll just put my Raw request that way. Have Bray, since I really do agree with Dylan Wynn, who all credit goes to him. I don't want to take any credit for the theory. If he's put the pieces together right.
It's not like a Dylan Wynn exclusive thought. Everyone has come to this conclusion.
Well, I mean, I saw it from him, so I felt appropriate to give him credit. So just bring Bray back in a big way. That's my Raw request. What's your Raw request?
My Raw request is to give the frickin' Shining Stars a goddamn match.
Yeah, and I'm the one reaching, right? Because that's clearly going to happen at the
Hey, man, I didn't even say they had to win it. I'm being incredibly generous with this Raw request. Just put them in a match. Even if you want them to lose to Breezango, like, fine. I just want them to frickin' wrestle.
I mean, you're not wrong, right? I mean, I'm totally with you on the Raw request that I want to see him compete too, but the interest just doesn't seem to be there from the people that matter.
Well, from the people that matter according to themselves.
Yeah, because, they kind of run the place, unfortunately.
Yeah, because the people that should matter is everyone who watches your product. But the people that actually matter are the people who decide who matters.
Yeah, that's a beautiful world you and I envision. It's never going to be any more than that.
Depress me harder, John. Depress me harder.
I could tell you that Charlotte's reign probably isn't going to end even, it's probably going to continue even beyond SummerSlam,
Yeah,
that pressure.
Surprised me. I still think Sasha's going to win the title off of her, but you're probably right.
All right, before we get into the part of the show where everybody's just really kind of glancing over at the razor blades.
I was just going to say where everyone's slitting their wrists.
Yeah, let's move on to the final segment that definitely makes me want to do that to mine.
Just think
30.
Oh, yeah, you go ahead.
30-second hot seat.
What I was going to say was, just think, John, we could end up with Charlotte and Roman as champion for a full calendar year.
Oh my god, the year of nepotism.
Well, at least the Usos aren't champions, right?
Yeah, give it time. What's your 30-second hot seat?
Oh, you know what? Tonight we're flipping. You give me one.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I wish I would have known about this, prior to the show starting. I could have actually thought of something good, but I'm guessing you think of mine on the spot anyway, so it's only fair.
That's true. That is true. I'm horrible at it, but I try.
Okay. Let me think.
See?
It's hard.
Quicker at this am I?
Because I'm used to you doing it, ass face. All right. Let's see. All right, you know what? NXT TakeOver is this Wednesday. We're doing our preview and predictions tomorrow.
Which means we shouldn't give anything away tonight, right?
Yeah, that is true. Fuck. And we're not even gonna do Lucha Underground, unfortunately, because.
But we should.
I know. They're so much better. You know what? Fuck it. You've already said, so I don't even mind asking this question, because you've already said, you believe Dean Ambrose is winning Money in the Bank.
I do.
Okay, this is going to be a 3-part question. When does he cash in? Does he successfully cash in? And if he doesn't successfully cash in, do we keep him in the title picture? And if so, how? Or does he go on to something else? Like, where does he fit in the story post-cash in? And I'm not even going to time you because I don't have the effort, so you can answer these questions now.
Well, god damn it. If you're not going to time me, I'll time my goddamn self.
Bitch, you're already wasting time. Just answer the fucking question.
And my time starts now. Okay. I think that Dean Ambrose is going to cash in at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be a predetermined cash in where he actually tells everyone when he's cashing in, and he's in the match from the beginning with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in a triple threat. I don't think he's going to successfully cash in because I think that Rollins is going to walk away from that pay-per-view with the title. And no, I don't think he's going to stay in the world title picture after that, but I do think that he'll probably land somewhere in the Intercontinental title picture. And 30 seconds is up.
Well, there you go. Again, I don't even think Ambrose is winning, so I mean, I just disagree with the fundamental part, but just playing on the idea that he is winning, that cash-in timeline works for me. Him not... What was that?
No, you go ahead. I have something for you then, though.
But then, like him not staying in the world title picture, that kind of rubs me the wrong way, but you're probably not even wrong, really, so I can't even really debate it vehemently. So yeah, I really liked your answers. I may have my disagreements, but yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. So what do you have for me now?
All right, John. Same 3 questions to you, except about Kevin Owens. You have 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
Okay, so yeah, definitely Kevin Owens is winning. Here's the crazy thing. I do see him successfully cashing in, but as much as it pains me to say it, I don't see him being champion for very long. I see him being champion either, honestly, a month or the latest 4 months, which is a crying shame. And honestly, outside of the obligatory rematch clause, I too would agree with you about, what you said about Ambrose. He wouldn't stay in the world title picture. Maybe he'd move on to feuding with somebody bigger, depending on who's on the roster at the time, but he wouldn't see the world title picture, till later. So there you go.
Okay, but the one question you didn't answer is, who would he cash in on and when?
I would say Roman Reigns, definitely, because he has a vice grip on that title. And let me think, because we're in June now, right? Yeah. July's Battleground, August is SummerSlam. I could see him cashing in either at Hell in a Cell or Survivor Series. Yeah, so either October, like late October, or November.
So you think Roman is just going to keep that vice grip on that title into the fall?
Oh, yeah, he's having a lengthy freaking run. We did not go through all this so he could have his run. He's having his fucking run. And the thing is, like, I understand people saying, like, oh, he'll probably drop it at SummerSlam. I want to believe you. It's just, when you look at the story they told, this is the kind of story that's saying to you at every turn, get ready for the long title run, and I've been prepping my body for it ever since. So, yeah, I'm thinking long term.
Man, just the idea of a freaking 8-month Roman title reign, like, it's just brings me back, man, to Adam Sandler's role in Wedding Singer and that one song he sang. You know how it went. Somebody kill me, please. No, seriously, don't kill me.
No, you're staying alive with me and you're suffering through this. You are not leaving me alone with this. Fuck that.
Why would you do that to me, man?
Honestly, like, you have no idea how quickly I'd sell you out to somebody to bring you back to life if you tried doing that. I'd be like, please, you gotta save him, and then they'd give you, like, cybernetic parts so you couldn't even replicate it, and you'd live forever through the reign of Roman, and I would just laugh the entire way because we shared the same fate together. That is how committed I am to you suffering this shit with me.
I would laugh at you in your old, decrepit state 80 years from now as I'm still alive and you're dying.
Yeah, you're so right. I am going to have a really horrible time. But with that said...
let's just embrace mortality, John.
Yeah, let's just walk into that ocean together. I never really got when people would do that, like, okay, you're walking in the water. Okay, you're submerged in the water. You coming back up? And no, I get it now. Because when it dawns on you, like, oh my god, Roman's going to be champion for life, all you can really do is just walk in the water. So, yeah, I totally get it now.
Joke's on you, John. I'd walk on the water.
Oh, my God. Next level right there. But with that said, I don't even know how you could bring up the tone, because that was really depressing what we just got done talking about. But this has been Raw.
The somber reality of life and death here in TWitWoW, people.
Yeah, you thought this was a wrestling podcast. Joke's on you.
It's like Cole Cabana says, this is a wrestling podcast. This is a live podcast.
So yeah, if you like that dose of life that you got, or didn't, the fact remains that this has been Raw. This has been TWitWoW. The best!
That segue, though?
I know. Wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. The 30-second hot seat usually is the question, so...
It's basically just tell us who you think is winning Money in the Bank. Tell us if you think they're going to cash in successfully, when you think they're going to cash in, and then to kind of move past that, if they are cashing in successfully, how long you think their title reign is going to be, and if they're not cashing in successfully, what they're going to be doing after the cash in.
Yeah, I'm very curious to hear like all the opinions on who you guys think is going to win Money in the Bank and just the circumstances of everything. As
Yeah, man, it's cool too because you and I both did the 30-second hot seat this week. That's not a common thing.
Yeah, that's definitely makes this TWitWoW stand out, and I'm even more curious how many hashtag KO for Money in the Bank 2016 comments we'll get. Because I've actually been surprised.
Gee, I bet the number would have been less than 3 before you said that.
Come to me, my children. Together we'll rule.
Chill harder, Joe.
Oh man, in 13 nights we'll all be validated. But yeah, no, I'm really looking.
Usage of numbers.
I'm really looking forward to the plurality of perspectives, mainly the right answers of Kevin Owens.
I didn't know that the purpose of TWitWoW was to promote WWE pay-per-views.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't even know what my purpose is anymore. So, yeah, get at us with those plurality of perspectives, but also be sure to take those perspectives over to Pweetov. That is, pro wrestling is taking over Facebook. You know, all this talk about Money in the Bank. They do a Money in the Bank, first of all, discussion thread on the day of the pay-per-view, and we always make a fun game of pay-per-views. We do a prediction thread. You go in, you get your predictions, and the high scorers, well, bragging rights. The losers, not so much. Things have been getting pretty crazy over at Pweetov. You want to definitely check it out. Also, be sure to check out the...
Get beat down by the reunion.
Exactly, or shot, you know, because there are guns now, apparently. So, you know.
I'm sorry, but that's just... I refuse to accept guns in my wrestling.
And it's like, I draw the line. You can have gods that eat faces, but guns? When did we become barbarians?
Well, the thing is, it's a freaking combat sport, and as soon as you introduce guns, the combat goes out the window.
Yeah, that's so true, because how much combat are you really going to mount when you shoot a guy in the kneecap? Like, yeah, good luck with that. But be sure to check out the TWitWoW Facebook page, like, share, and comment on the content there. If Facebook isn't your medium of choice, we also have a TWitWoW subreddit where you can find all of our TWitWoW content, and members of the subreddit can create threads of their own on all things related to pro wrestling. However, for the best possible TWitWoW experience, I highly recommend you follow both of us on Twitter.
Twitter.
I am at John_TwitWoW. That is JOHN_TwitWoW. Ashton is at apond404. That's the letter A, pond, the body of water, POND 404.
You know, as often as you say that, it really makes me want to change my Twitter name.
I like it. I think your Twitter name is fine.
It's just so, you know, difficult to describe in a succinct way.
You know, I think I've done well enough. I mean, maybe it's on me. Maybe I haven't tried hard enough. Maybe there is a way. But until then, God,
I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like the simplest way would just be to spell it out, but even that is too freaking long-winded.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe a change is in order. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. But what you guys can look forward to.
Maybe I should just change it to Ashton_TwitWoW.
Maybe. I mean, that'd be the simplest way. I mean, if you want to be a
conformist. Yeah. Your face is the simplest way.
Wow! Oh my God! Oh my God. Well, we'll definitely have to have a talk when this recording goes off the air. But
I'm gonna get a stern talking to, guys.
Oh my God. What you guys can talk about.
Wag his finger at me.
Let me do my outro. It's all that I have. What you guys can look forward to and talk about amongst your friends. That was the line I was trying to get out. Is tomorrow we have got NXT TakeOver The End preview and predictions.
Oh my God, we have so much stuff to do tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. And Wednesday, NXT TakeOver The End live reactions,
I don't even care if it's at 11 o'clock at night. We are doing Lucha Underground live reactions too.
Well, you know what? All right, fine. Lucha Underground live reactions, but does that mean then that Lucha Underground will be on the actual review be on Thursday then?
No, we're doing that also.
All right, so we're doing it all. All right. I was getting ready to say Lucha Underground Thursday, but guys, you don't even have to fret. You're getting all things Lucha Underground on Wednesday. Why? Because the product's just that fucking good. That's why. So
Quite
Until
frankly,
then,
people, if it was up to me, we would be doing Lucha Underground live reactions live, and then just find a video of NXT or just watch on the network NXT Takeover and live react to that.
yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, people, because Lucha Underground, everything else, every time. I mean, that's just where my preference is going to go.
Yeah, and just to kind of create the visual, when John said Lucha Underground, his hand was far above his head, and when he said everything else, his hand was down near his crotch.
How do you know? So, yeah, guys, until then, that's all you have to look forward to, but tune in. Peace out.